So, what is a histogram? An image is made up of pixels, and each pixel has a brightness, otherwise known as tone, from black to white. A histogram is just a graph of all the different pixels, the pixel tones of your image. Now, most histograms are RGB histograms. RGB stands for red, green, blue. And RGB are the colors that combine to form light. So when red, green, and blue combine to form the different colors, where they meet in the middle is actually white. But you can see that the red, green, and blue are actually equidistant from each other on the color wheel. You can darken or brighten the tone, otherwise known as brightness, of each of these colors. Here is a RGB histogram. Each color, red, green, and blue, has its own graph. And where the colors overlap, you can see that that is gray. Now remember, a histogram is just a graph of the different pixels of an image. So when I zoom in on a color, and that color has a specific tone, otherwise known as brightness, from black to white, we can graph that pixel on our histogram. We can look elsewhere at other pixels, and those pixels can go into the graph too. The histogram is a representation of all the pixels in an image. And you can see why there is a green spike in this histogram, because there's a lot of that green tone in this image. There's even a spike on the left-hand side of this histogram, which probably represents the spider's eyes, those black part of the eyes. When we look at other images, we can see their corresponding histograms. In this image, we have quite a lot of black, and we can see the spike on the left-hand side of the histogram. We can also see a bunch of blues, and there's a spike there in the midtones, and that's represented on the histogram. In this image, there's a black spike in the histogram on the left-hand side, and you can see that's for that black dog. There's also a spike towards the right side of the midtones, and that's the other colors that are in the image. Now, what color do you see mostly here? There's actually a lot of sort of the gray, the mixture of the colors, and that makes sense when we look at this histogram. What color would you say is most dominant here? Is it sort of a yellowish or an orangish, whitish gray, that sort of thing? Well, look at the histogram. On the far side, there's a red and a green overlap. When you look at the color wheel, when we overlap red and green, we get those colors that are represented in this image. So a histogram can help you understand your image.